And the catcher, Hogan Zach. Chase Altsler, the pitcher. The mighty shortstop, Walker O'Cry. At third base, Sam Bray. The center fielder, Daniel Chavez Lumbio. In right field, we've got Jack Murray. In left field, Sammy Barrett. At second base, Emilio Chavez Lumbio. We also have Andrew Middleholzer. Michael Aiken. And Austin O'Malley. And the manager for the Rockies is no other than Blake Barano. Also helping Blake, we've got Burton Schnocky, Christian Charbonnet, Ben Waltman, Willie Heck, Michael Case, Sam Saxton, Bryce Madison, and Bryce Hooper. Give it up for your Colorado Rockies.
All right, Forrest. Can you hear me?
And now, on your
Cannot hear you.
baseline, your Houston Astros.
Having a little technical difficulty.
How about-
here.
Starting off with Brooks
How about
Nagy,
now?
second
Now I
baseman.
can hear you, Forrest. Welcome back.
Nagy at shortstop.
So BA, this is the
Pitcher.
last game. It's actually been delayed a couple of days. We were supposed to play this on Saturday. All that rain about a week ago put the whole schedule back. And I'm not sure if you can hear the PA announcer on the field, but they're announcing the Astros right now. The Rockies are already out there. Astros are going to be the home team tonight. The Astros actually were the 5th seed going into the playoffs, and the Rockies were the 1st seed. But these two teams played about a week ago, and the Rockies lost 5-4.
Porter Cyrus.
So they had to work their way back through the losers bracket,
First base, we have Eli Ferber.
and now we've got a one-game finale.
A little different than last year, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did it this year. It works out for the best though with the timing, everything being delayed for so long. I think it's best just to get it out in one game, especially because these guys played during the regular season. The Rockies won that one, so see it as a best 2 out of 3 on the season.
Well,
Other coaches with Davis are Connor Cook.
this is our second time to do this. Last year we had the Astros win the whole championship. The World Championship is the 12s.
Mason
Just got
McIntyre.
passed by the great Johnny Randolph.
I saw him.
Alex Aiza.
He got his hair cut this week,
Yeah, I
Michael
mean,
Furrow.
once a year.
he's a legend out here in his own mind, isn't he?
He
Give
is.
it up for your Houston Astros.
I don't think he feels very comfortable not being part of the game.
We also want to give a huge thanks to these men and
So the Astros got here by beating the Cubs in the first round, 10-3. The Marlins in the second round in an upset, 9-2. They beat the Rockies, as I just said, 5-4 about a week ago. And then a couple of nights ago, played the Angels, actually late last week, played the Angels. And were able to win that in a 2-0 pitchers battle.
It was a very impressive. There was Ben Fuqua pitched for the Angels, and he faced the great Thomas Smith, who's probably one of the, I think probably one of the 50 greatest players that's ever been out here.
the 50.
50. So I've been out here now for 9 years. I think I've coached like 12 teams. And if you take the best player in each age group and go for 50 years, he's definitely been the best player in his age group his entire 7 years playing at Polk.
Yeah, he's dangerous at the plate. He's dangerous on the mound.
He's one of the more impressive kids that have ever put the cleats on out here.
Definitely fun to watch. We're hopefully in for a treat tonight. The Astros are, with Thomas especially, one of the best. Did the best job of keeping the score low, and the Rockies were the #1 run-scoring team. After this year, they scored 99 runs, a lot more than the rest of the teams, and they didn't play a whole lot of bottom of the 6th inning because they won most of their games. I think they ended up 9-3, whereas the Astros were 5-6-1, so right in the middle of the pack. And the Rockies kind of had a target on their back right from the very beginning. They won their first 4 games, and so they've had everybody chasing them all season long. And luckily, we're able to pull it off in a couple of close games. The Rockies got here. They beat the Giants in the first round in a walk-off, 6-5, so they could have been out a whole lot earlier. And they lost to the Astros, like we said. Beat the Yankees 3-2, beat the White Sox a couple of nights ago, and then had to play the Angels without Ben Fuquay on the mound, and were able to win 7-3 on Saturday.
And in your mind, who was the betting favorite preseason?
I have no idea. I think to expect anything out of the Rockies, because they really don't have a #1 player, and a lot of these other teams do. They have a clear #1 player. I think the Rockies have 4 or 5 guys that you could argue are their best player, which is probably the reason they're in this game tonight.
You have a lot of bias on this game, don't you?
Well, I've got a kid on one team, so.
So we'll be rooting for them tonight?
Well, this is going only on the internet, so whatever we say doesn't really matter. So, thank you, Vype, for having us out here tonight, though.
Yeah, thank you very much.
When it comes to pitching, normally the pitching makes it really interesting as far as who's eligible on any given night. And it looks like the only player going into tonight that's not eligible to pitch is Walker O'Pry, who is an infielder and a catcher and a pitcher for the Rockies. And so everybody else on both teams is eligible to pitch tonight.
So we have Thomas Smith pitching, and then Chase Osler?
I think it's going to be Chase for the Rockies. There's a couple of guys they could go to. I have a feeling they're going to pitch more than one guy. The pitch limit tonight for any of the pitchers is 95, so you can go nearly a complete game. Tonight's game is not timed. Normally these games are an hour and 40 minutes, so we may be here 3 or 4 hours.
Did you just say there's not a pitch limit tonight?
No, the pitch limit's 95. You can after you get to 95, you can finish that batter. And then after that, you're done for the night. You can stay in the game, but you can't keep pitching.
So contrary to any other game, we're going all 7.
We're going all 7. There is I'm not quite clear on this. There's a little bit of debate on this, but we think there's a run rule. We're not sure if there's a run rule or not, but we're not in charge of officiating the game. We're just going to try to help you get through it, watching it on the, I guess on your webcam or on your TV.
4 umpires here today, post up.
You think it'll help?
Well, some of them are really good, and some of them are not so good.
I think it'll really help. I think having 4, as long as they have a little bit of humility, I think we can get a good game tonight, get a good game in.
Well, walking up here to us, the stadium's a great Rory Walker, called probably the greatest post-oak game ever last year.
I'm not sure why we're here if Rory's here.
I agree. Rory should be doing this, but he made one of the greatest calls ever.
Yeah, he takes first pitch. Green at the plate. He's been the first baseman in the last 8 games for the Rockies. Smith starts him off with a strike.
He's been hurt, hasn't he? Pops one up here.
It's going to drop. So 2 strikes really quickly there for Smith. I'm sure the Rockies want to work that pitch count up, but he's starting off throwing strikes, so not much you can do about that.
Top velocity for Thomas, what do you think he reaches here?
I think it's low 70s.
So most
I
of
don't
these
think
kids
he's touching 75.
Any 15-year-olds out here?
There shouldn't be. Maybe watching.
Sometimes they get to be a 15-year-old when they play 3 years.
Got it. Busted him inside there.
Yeah. Thomas got kind of a different delivery, so you never really know if it's a fastball or a curveball. It comes really over the top of it. It's kind of an interesting move.
He's kind of got a leg kick, too, that I'm sure makes it tough timing him up.
The ball is moving. I've skied with Thomas Smith. He is one incredible athlete. It doesn't matter. He plays summer ball on a pretty premier select team. You know what it's called?
Marucci Elite, is that the
I
one?
think so.
Yeah.
Your son's on another premier select team. What is it?
He's playing for the Texas 12 out in Katy. So it's his first year to do that. But it's been good. Playing with some kids that he doesn't know, which I think is probably a good thing. That's what he'll have to do later on if he wants to keep playing baseball. This might be the last game for a lot of these guys.
It is going to be the last game for a lot of these people.
Draws a walk.
Draws a walk. Charlie's one of the faster kids out here on the field. Behind the plate for the Astros would be Hayes Camarda.
That's right.
And he's got a gun. Playing second base, Brooks Maggi and his brother shortstop. It's Jack Maggi. I've coached both of those kids, and I've coached this kid here on first, Eli Ferber. And then who's
How about
holding
the kid in right? You've coached him too, right?
the kid in left is my nephew. So I'm a big fan of Porter Cyrus tonight. Who's in left?
I think it's I'm gonna make it.
There he goes. Head
Got him.
flyers. Great slide. Good throw.
I think it's William Treelevin in center. Trying to make out the let's see, left fielder here.
Is that Maximus?
That very well could be Max Van Dyke. So Hogan
Maximus.
Zach is at the plate for the Rockies. Green
Now,
is there on second now.
Now Hogan, Zach, has really matured. That's one of the real neat things to do when you watch around this league is you watch these kids grow. So a lot of these kids, this is their 7th year.
Hogan's an exception, though. There's a couple of guys tonight that have only played a couple of years. They only played their junior years.
Okay,
at
yes.
Poland. Hogan is one of those guys. He came over, played last year. It's funny. He played for the Rockies last year. And
where is he from?
he goes to Kincaid. So I don't know.
Where did he play little ball?
I understand. I'm not sure, but I understand they live down in Bel Air, but I'm not positive about that. He plays right now. He plays for Mark Quinn's Royals team in addition to playing here at Pole.
We know about Mark Quinn's Royals team, don't
Yeah, he's a 14U player. Goes to Kincaid. Actually, was on this Kincaid team that just won their district championship. I'm not there. I don't have the acronym down for that one, but actually 2 guys on each team played for that Kincaid team that won the district championship against the other private schools. And luckily, it didn't. They're done now. It didn't interfere with this game tonight, but it interfered with some of the regular season games. So you saw a little. Some teams were a little light based on the second team and sometimes third team that these guys are playing on.
It's in a little high there.
So it's 3-1. It's unusual. Thomas doesn't usually have this much trouble finding the zone, so we'll see how this turns out. Hogan knows he.
10 pitches,
he's
7
ahead
balls here. Ball in play.
Uh-oh.
Chopper, get through.
That should score a run.
Here we
We'll
go.
see.
That's going to score. It's an RBI.
Yeah. That was a tough play. I don't think that's an error. I think that was just a hit up the middle.
What's your prediction? What's the over and under tonight?
Over-under's 9. It started at 7.5. It's up to 9 now. This is Chase Otzler.
Osler.
I'll let you say it from here on out. This is Chase. Another Kincaid kid, another player for Mark Quinn with the Royals this season.
Great family. I've known him for a long, long time. His dad is a Kincaid legend, too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Great tennis player.
So we should see Chase on the mound in the bottom half of the first.
Great story about his father. His father coached flag football. I know we're now talking about a different sport.
We'll do that a little bit tonight.
Yeah. We're going to be all over the place. Ooh, gets by. Dad coaches flag football this year, 7-on-7. It was actually last year. He had the great Vince Young's kid on his team.
Oh, is that right?
And Vince Young's kid, you know, maybe didn't act right at school or something, and I got in a little trouble or something. And to Vince's credit, Vince made him call Mr. Osler
Oh, wow.
and tell him that he was not playing. was not going to be allowed to play because he was not acting right.
Oh boy.
So
I'm guessing he's a player they're going to miss.
this already occurred, and it turned out very well. And all I can tell you is what a fine individual Vince Young is for all of you Texas fans.
So Hogan's now on third. Otzler strikes out, so needed to make a little contact there to push that runner home. Wasn't quite able to pull it off. And Walker O'Pry will be the next batter for the Rockies.
Little known fact about Walker: Walker goes to Camp Longhorn, and he is the flipping champion. Walker is one of the better trampoliners. Last year we shared some great intel with some dinosaurs.
What do you mean?
Remember our dinosaur last year? Paleontologist?
I need the transcript from last year. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yes, you deferred to me as one of the children who was big into dinosaurs.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, it's been a little while. I've slept. So Walker had a monster game the last couple of games of the playoffs. He pitched and held the Angels to just a couple runs during his 5 innings. But he had 7 at-bats in the last 2 games. He was 7 for 7 with 9 RBIs.
So Walker and Thomas have been great friends, and they've also been teammates on the Post Oak All-Star team, which to our right, both of the 12 and 11-year-old teams are playing. And at this level, what they call pony ball really around the country, if you're playing this level, you've played a lot of baseball. And my oldest son is playing on the high school baseball team, and I will tell you that in Houston, Texas, baseball is very competitive.
Definitely. So they get Walker there on a off-speed pitch of some sort. Sam Bray is going to come up to the plate next. He, Walker, and Charlie, all 3 go to Spring Branch Middle with a lot of the other kids, excuse me, in Post Oak. But I would say that Sam is a very rare OU fan.
Sam is also another rare one. His father runs SBMSA baseball, and he was able to come over in,
I think, just the last 2 years too, right?
Right, in his junior year. His dad runs an organization called the Naturals. It's a select team.
And that's where Sam plays his ball on the weekends.
That's right.
So 1-1 now. That one looked outside from here.
Beautiful
Sam,
night out here.
He did have 2 doubles in the last game against the Astros. I think just one was off Thomas, but he definitely was able to put it in play against the Astros last time, which was a challenge.
Uh-oh.
Got to play at the plate? No. So Hogan's able to get home on the wild pitch.
Pass ball or wild pitch?
I don't know. It's hard to tell from here. I'm gonna defer. We'll see what the scorekeeper says. Pass ball.
Pass ball.
So
that's what I
I'm
thought
not going
too.
to make that call, especially against Hayes. We've known Hayes since he was about 3 years old, and he's taller than me now. So, all right, it's going to drop.
Quite a hit there.
So the pass ball didn't matter. So Sam reaches, drops it in the right center field. And one of the players that's really been a standout for the Rockies, and I think is one of the reasons that they are where they are right now, Daniel Chavez Lajambio is up. He's a St. Thomas kid that's going to he's a St. Michael's kid that's going to St. Thomas next year. But he's been the RBI leader and has the highest OPS on this team.
Have they always played together, the Twins?
They've never played together.
That's what I thought.
They're brothers. They're 2 years apart, so this is really the only year where they could potentially even play together.
Sam gets the second on a.
That was a pass ball.
That is another pass ball.
Although it did bounce, so it doesn't really matter there. I think Sam was going to make it anyway. But no, Daniel has been fantastic. He really didn't pitch much until the playoffs, but pitched, I think, a complete game, or all but maybe the last inning in one of the games earlier in the playoffs. In fact, pitched against the Astros, and really just a consistent strike thrower. Really disciplined at the plate. Again, leads this team in OPS, which is crazy because he's not a big kid. He's not hitting triples and home runs.
He's got to squeeze that ball. Our viewer base is growing here for us.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Three or four?
We got large double digits. The Nielsen ratings are really going to be high for us.
Did you bring the copy for the commercial spots that we sold for this game?
I did. And
Are you going to take care of that between innings?
yes. Currently, right now, it's going to be brought to you by the Maggi family from the Astros. And I think the older Maggi is listening as well to this broadcast.
That'll
Little
do
chopper to first.
So the Rockies are able to pick up 2 runs. I think on, was it 2 hits? Double check here. 2 runs on 2 hits.
2-0 will go to the bottom. All right, we're back, right?
I got you. Yeah, we're here.
32 pitches Thomas brings up in the first inning out of 95. 7 innings.
Yeah, that's definitely what the Rockies were hoping for. Get a couple runs and anything over 20 pitches, I would say, is a positive inning. So Jack Maggi's up. I think our 5th or 6th kid already that goes to Kincaid.
Little cool fact about Post Oak. Post Oak's a great family place. I'll tell you how family it is. How long do you think that the concession lady Maria has worked the concession stand?
Let's start with 10 years.
She's almost at
30
30.
years. So Otzler's on the mound for the Rockies. Hogan's behind the plate. Green at first. Chavez Lujanbio at second. O'Pry at shortstop. Sam Bray at third. Sammy Barrett's in left. Center field is the other Chavez Lujanbio, Daniel. And then the fastest player on the Rockies team. It looks like a fair ball.
All the way to the fence. Hayes is like a giraffe.
So a good start by Hayes Camarda.
They call it drip, I think, right?
They do.
That's in define drip for me, Professor.
I think it's all the extra stuff that you wear that's clearly more expensive than the uniform.
Where did they come up with the name?
The sleeves and the sliding gloves. So Hayes is putting on that sliding glove. Thomas Smith up at the plate. It'll be interesting to see. He's actually taken a couple balls close to going out. Neither team in this championship has a home run on the season.
There's enough wind coming in.
Look good from here. So Thomas apparently hit one that was really close a couple of weeks ago, but it hung up on him. And again, I wasn't here, but apparently he understandably went into the home run trot, but the ball stayed in the field, so he was held to a double on one that was, I think, hit the fence in the air or came really close to it. 2 quick strikes there for Otzler. Or just Chase. So, Brian, I know you're full of the fun facts. I'll give you one on Thomas Smith.
Yeah, give it to me.
How many innings do you think he's pitched for his Marucci Elite team?
0.
Nailed it. He does not pitch for that team. The only pitching he's done this spring is for this post-oak team. And his school, that's true. So only 2 teams, not 3. That should be an easy way to get to third base. I don't know about that. Actually, the parents of a few players out here said that the 4 of them won that championship for this 8th grade team. I just took for granted they were all playing on the same team, so. Is that right? Maybe he played for both teams a little bit, I'm not sure. But I think it was Hogan, Chase, Ferber, and Smith that played on that team, from what I understand from my. Yeah, Murray kept it in front of him. So a quick run for the Astros and still no outs. So we had the it's a different lineup than what they used a couple of weeks ago. I was working my scorecard off of their lineup from before. So Hayes is in the lead-up spot. Maggi is batting in that number 3 spot. Yeah, he missed the game. He missed the previous playoff game.
Behind the plate is Hogan. They'll throw it back. They'll try to back door. They throw it back.
But he definitely will do a back pick. And that's really been the difference right there. Oh, he ran into him, boy. That's you don't see that very often.
Nice catch out in center field.
Now, what's the rule on that?
What do you mean?
In a play like that, when there's trying to be a back, when they're trying to tag him up,
Mm-hmm.
first baseman's on the base, and the runner runs into the first baseman on the base
As the ball gets there.
as the ball gets there.
I think it's a good question. I don't know the answer. But there's 1 out now. Nice play by Chavez Lujanbio in center. And Eli Ferber, who can flick it out, or can flick it deep with his wrists.
just blinked. There it is.
Johnny.
Are we back now?
I think we're back.
We'll take it.
If we're not, let's act like we are.
It's a little bit better than YouTuber equipment, but you know, it's still amateur announcing equipment.
No, I'm not familiar. I think this is just fine. I think we might have had a meddling teenager over there that unplugged us on accident. That was close. Looks like 3 balls and a strike. Ferber's on second after the error on the third baseman, Bray.
We're back live.
Okay.
Balls hit to short. Balls hit caught center field. Trying to tag him back up. Thomas runs into the first baseman. He's trying to occupy the bag to catch him out. Is there a rule in that? It's not on the original hit. He's got access. He has access to the bag. So there you go.
Yep.
But if it was on the original hit, he doesn't have the ability.
I guess not.
3-2 here.
So William Tree-Levin works the count full. Just 1 out. You're going to know better than I am on that one. He got the walk he was looking for. So the other Maggie's up now.
Little Brooksy.
See, a scrappy little player, plays all over the field for him.
Brooks was Marlin last year. He started off as a frog.
Was he traded to the Marlins?
No, he was on the Marlins last year. That's a balk.
I'm sure Chase is getting a little frustrated now. So Otzler was actually, he's been on the same team as the Maggies before, but it was about 6 years ago. And they didn't win nearly as many games as these teams have won. From my research, it's that LSU Tigers team from about 2017 or 18. Only won 1 game, but they had a lot of fun. I think that was Coach Maggie's team. And Chase was on that team. There's definitely been.
Chase has been a Tiger, a Bruin, a Knight, a Bull, a Dodger, a Yankee, and a Rocky.
So his agent keeps moving him all over the league, I guess, for new contracts. It's that small strike zone that Maggie has here makes it really tough when you go from a Eli Ferber, who's got to be 6 feet tall now.
Eli's mother was a great volleyball player at Emory.
He's doing this without notes, everyone. Oh, he takes a cutter to high pitch there, 2-2.
Goes upstairs. Of course, you got 40 people.
Let's hope they stick with us here.
We're gonna try our best.
So back to the pitcher. That's a good outcome for the got back to the base. Still runners at second and third. Ferber at third. William Tree-Levin on second base. Now 2 outs. I believe this is the only redrafted Astro, Porter Cyrus. He's played on the Astros 3 seasons in a row, once with majors and twice as a junior. So he's basically been able to wear the same uniform and hat. But I'm guessing he's probably outgrown it at this point. Another one right back to the pitcher. And made it as exciting as it possibly could, but after all that traffic, it ends up 2-2 after 2. And you know what? Other than the error by the Rockies, 2 hits for the Astros, 2 hits for the Rockies. That takes us through 1 inning, heading to the top of the second. We'll take a break here and come right back. So Jack Murray at the plate. Smith is still on the mound. That was pitch number 33. Murray is probably the fastest kid on the Rockies. There's a couple of them, and he's a big-time soccer player. Murray is. He's a former Post Oak Little League champion. He won the Johnny Randolph coached Irish 2018 championship. Played all over the place, but a lot of catcher.
Little known fact.
Until now.
Forrest was a great soccer player as well.
I played soccer. I'm not great. Nice pitch by Smith. Drops one in there. The scoreboard's not keeping up with the count. So Sammy Barrett, another former champion. In fact, until the I think it was the Dodgers that won the Majors championship a couple of days ago. Sammy is a reigning champion of pole. He played for Shane Hildreth's Astros team last year for back-to-back Barrett championships.
Back-to-back Barrett championships. His brother was a Pirate. Another great fact, coach of the Pirates, Chris Hutchison, has officially, as a coach, won a championship in Pee Wee, minors, and majors.
Wow.
And he played here.
So another strikeout, a quick one there. I think 3-pitch strikeout. The scoreboard is really not working out there. And so the younger Chavez Emilio, the full-time second baseman for the Rockies, steps to the plate. Ooh. So, I don't know if that hit his bat or his helmet. Looks like it hit his helmet. And he's the team leader in on-base percentage. And there really haven't been too many hit by pitch, but that puts him on first. Brings up the top of the order for the Rockies. I think he's fine, but Emilio almost didn't play this season because he had such a bad concussion in the offseason. It took him weeks to recover and was just cleared to play baseball a couple of days before the tryout this year. So I'm sure he's just fine, but the extra leadoff man for the Rockies. Emilio's on first now. Green at the plate.
Back to the top of the lineup. 2 outs. I think they got it.
That was close.
Quick pickup. Chavez was really one of the really best third basemen in Pee Wee at one point.
Yeah, he's been voted an All-Star more than once.
Chavez has?
He has. Makes a ton of contact. Has an incredible range at second base. We haven't had a chance to see it tonight, but does a great job of trying to make every single play possible as a second baseman. So, and he can play short. He actually pitched a little bit this season too.
And he's the younger one.
He's the younger one. He's only in 6th grade. They go to 2 different schools. He goes to Western. His brother goes to St. Michael's, and I believe is heading to St. Thomas. But don't quote me on that one. So you'd think they'd send him here. Might as well with 2 strikes. Hit by Green. Keeps this little mini rally going here with 2 outs. Goes to the, puts it between, it looks like the shortstop and the third baseman there.
Next up to bat for the Rockies is their catcher, Zach.
So he's not the biggest kid on the team, but Hogan probably has the most power of anybody on the Rockies. For some reason, it looks like Ferber's moving him out. He knows what's going on. He's a teammate. But Tree Levin's not moving in, so we'll see if he can
So with 2 outs, you need to be swinging here. Well, if he'll throw you a strike.
Ball outside.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hitter's count now. 2 balls, no strikes. 2 outs.
I wonder who's running the scoreboard.
There's enough people up there, they should be able to handle it. It's not that hard.
There's only a couple buttons.
So 3-0 count. You think he's going to take this one now, though. You can't give him a green light with 2 guys on in the middle of your order coming up here. Up. Oh. Sneaks through.
That's an error.
Yeah. So the bases are juiced. Otzler's coming up. And he struck out last time, so he's going to be looking for a little payback now. The bases juiced. Number 3 hitter for the Rockies at the plate. Smith gets the call on the inside of the plate. It looks like Camarda's done a much better job of squeezing it behind the plate the second inning than the first.
Gets another strikeout, so
Wow,
that's a big out for the Astros. So another 17 pitches for Thomas, approximately puts him just under 50. So middle of the second, 2-2. the shortstop. I don't want to be too harsh on the kids, but that's an error.
Don't put it on just yet.
Still in the mound for the Colorado Rockies, Chase Holzer.
So if I turn the gain up from the guy's headset with the one earpiece, it will make squeaking sounds.
So a couple of outfielders changed up there for the Rockies.
Every
Andrew
player just has to bat.
Andrew Mittenholzer is in right now. Michael Aiken in left.
Rule is every player just has to bat once. That's minimum play.
I believe that's minimum play. I would hope that you're at least encouraged to play some guys in the field a little bit every game, but I don't think there's a minimum play other than that. So I think you're right. I think it's just an at-bat per game, and with 7 innings, hopefully we'll get to see everybody twice.
Had a little technical difficulties here, but we're working on that.
So this is Max Van Dyke, St. Michael's kid. He actually was teammates last year with Thomas Smith as well. So another good pitch by Chase. Chance is his little brother. Did you know Van Dyke, 3-time winner at the Pole Carnival?
Really?
Best name.
Best name.
I'm not sure who beat him out the other year. It might have been Emilio Chavez Alhambio.
That's an award.
It's an award. It's who fills up the back of their jersey the best.
Yeah.
It's clever. Is that a sponsor?
When it starts going down your shoulders, you know it's a good thing. They are not a sponsor now. So still 2-2. Van Dyke fights that one off. Sounds like we're going to have Pierce Russell up. I guess he's on deck right now. I think that one was high. So the Astros are doing a good job of working that pitch count up on Chase as well. And he gets him. You really need to do a good job as a pitcher. You need to be efficient with the bottom of everybody's order. Doesn't matter if it's the Astros or the Rockies, any team. You've got to be able to throw strikes to the guys at the bottom of the lineup and let your defense work. If you try to work the counter, you try to strike guys out, Brian, you're going to work that pitch count up way too fast. The Rockies are in a good position. They have 3 or 4 guys that can pitch. But it's never a bad thing to have an efficient 5 or 10 pitch inning.
So 1 down here.
Quick strike against Pierce, the Muscle Russell. A couple of these Astros have great nicknames.
The
would you
Muscle
trade that
Russell.
one?
That's a pretty good one.
That's 3 quick strikes. he didn't get the flex on that one. Back to the top of the order for the Astros. Camarda, who had it. He slapped one into left field.
So back to
Past
the top of
third
the
baseman.
lineup, right?
That's right. Hayes Camarda, I think, the only representative from St. Francis on the field tonight. He and Walker O'Pry used to be in the same grade, actually in the same school together. Hayes has a big brother, Miles, and if you haven't mixed them up, you haven't met him. Only a year apart.
Only a year apart. Height difference, what?
Almost the same. Hayes has always been a little bit bigger. The younger one has always been a little bit bigger, but Miles is not too far behind. It's really hard to tell them apart as of about 6 months ago. You're trying too hard if you get it right every time. So Hogan's behind the plate for the Rockies. He has not played catcher much this season. He's been about maybe a third of the time. Walker O'Pry has been the primary catcher, and they've been using him more at short. And Hogan behind the plate.
Who plays short when? Does Hogan play short?
Chase
much?
will play some short. Here's another ball. He's going to have a chance here at short. Had some trouble making those throws to. And he was able to get the out at second. So that worked out for the best for the Rockies. Should have been an out.
Can you score that
initially.
play for me?
You know, I think it's going to be a 6-3 overthrow back to 4.
6-3 E4 out.
I think I'm not positive. I think the error's on the 6, not the 3 or the 4.
So
and then the 4 is the there's
6E3 4 out.
There you go. I think that's right. The guy you need to ask is not standing right next to you. He's a couple yards down the line here. It's a quick inning, despite the error. The Rockies were able to escape. So after 2, just 2 runs for each team. Top of the third. The Rockies really aren't used to batting first, and they're not used to playing on this first base or coming in this first base dugout. They've been able to be the home team in all of their playoff games. They took the top seed in the regular season. It was super close, actually. There were 3 or 4 teams that were right there together. No one ran away with the league this year as far as the regular season. And even the teams at the bottom of the bracket, everybody put up 3 or 4 wins. And so it was actually, I think, I haven't seen what the draft looked like, but it seems like it was a really fair, even draft. All the teams were pretty even this year, so it's a nice thing. You don't want to have the haves and the have-nots. It's way more fun when it's balanced.
Parity is the goal.
I think so, kind of like the NFL, but it's much harder to come by in Little League Baseball than it is in professional sports.
Well, the good thing about this is that there aren't dads coaching, so you don't have someone guaranteed on a team or 2 people guaranteed teamed up. So
That's right.
So how many coaches coach, and where do they come from?
So some of these teams have 7 or 8 coaches. I think a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them were former Post Oak Little League players. I can speak for the Rockies just a little bit. A lot of the guys that are the Rockies coaches, a handful of them went to Texas together. They went to different high schools. I don't think any of them went to Memorial High School. I think a couple Episcopal guys, a couple guys from a few different high schools, but they've known each other for the last 10 years. And there have been games where it seems like 7 or 8 guys for some of the teams, 7 or 8 coaches. And so...
And who is the...
Blake Barano.
Blake Barano
is the head coach for the Rockies, and Davis Sheffield is the head coach for the Astros. And if I'm not mistaken, his brother coached the Astros last year, or somebody else with the same last name.
That's
so
correct.
I'm just taking for granted that that's his brother.
That's correct.
So they passed it down, which I think a lot of the teams will do that.
Some of these guys up here, they've coached. John Nicholson, who just won, I think he coached over 10 years in the team.
I've heard a couple stories of a couple guys coaching for 10 years. So Walker O'Pry at the plate, cleanup hitter, pound for pound, one of the best players in this 8th grade group, I would argue.
Back again, Thomas Smith, 51 pitches so far. I'm going on record, one of the top players in the past 50 years at Post Oak.
I didn't realize the records went back that far, but gets another strikeout there, so that's supports your point. I think 50 may be a little high. He's been pretty dominant. He's playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers out there.
That's a very
Brian.
true statement.
So this is Sam Bray. Sam is just a second-year pull.
Great hit in the first at
He
bat.
did. So they make some contact, which is a start. Oh, he calls him safe. He calls him safe. He doesn't have to get in the bag. And so what you'll notice about a couple of these coaches, for the Rockies especially, even in the second or third inning, you might as well think it's the bottom of the ninth in the World Series. So a little excitable. They care, which is one thing you're definitely looking for in a coach, but they've got that in spades. So Bray reaches on an errant throw, I'll say.
That would be an error.
Yeah. And I believe this is Jack Murray coming back up to the plate. Excuse me, that's Geno Chavez Lujambio.
The older of.
The older of the two, not twins. Daniel has been a double machine over the course of the season. That was a rare hit for Bray. He typically, if he gets a hold of it, it's not staying in the infield. So for him to get rolled over a little bit, it's a testament to Thomas's pitching. If he makes contact, it's usually flying out of the infield, and a lot of times getting past that outfielder because it's moving. He swings hard. There's a throw.
Here we go.
Should be able to get there.
Boom.
He was safe.
Oh,
that was
safe.
close. That was really close.
Chavez here
Nice
is-
throw by Ferber.
Chavez on base percentage, almost 600.
Daniels.
Daniel.
Yeah, he's. I mean, I don't know how the draft order worked out. Wherever they picked Daniel and Emilio, I'm not sure if it's treated as a package deal. I think it is for brothers if they want to play together. But wherever they picked them, even if they picked them 1-2, they were worth it based on the stats at the end of the season. I don't think they picked him 1-2, but they've been that good.
$17 hits on the year.
Yeah, and I mean, he has been unbelievably clutch. His batting average with runners in scoring position is .450. I mean,
See if he can trade places.
I called it low. So in the previous game, I was able to watch from the tower, so you can really watch the pitches come in. You can watch the pitcher work from up there.
They put us over here in the doghouse.
Well, we got to be able to see. We don't want to be behind the net, so. But with Thomas up there, you could see when he would get ahead in the count, he was having some fun. So whether it's he's busting him inside with a fastball, he threw it at what looked like a knuckleball. Definitely had some off-speed pitches where he was just abusing the batters from a pitcher's perspective. So it was fun to watch from up there.
So 2-2 here in the third.
Two count, just one out. And both teams have had a lot of traffic. That's typical Daniel Chavez Lujambio right there. Oh. And so first and third now. Nice hit by Daniel. I'm glad he did that. It would have made me look foolish if he hadn't come through with the hit there.
So you're going to see the catcher come out and do some crazy signals, I bet, on a first and third call.
Now here, would you trade it out for a run? If I were the Astros, I would not.
No. It's a small ball at this level. You only got one game.
Yeah, step off, first third, he has him. That's just a win for the Astros right there. He got there. He got to second base, and I'm not sure why, but Sam Bray stayed at second while that was going. Or sorry, stayed at third. I think he would have had a good chance of getting home. But there's Daniel. There's Daniel for you.
Looks like Thomas let it go a little late on that. You got to throw it a little early.
I agree. Or keep running at him, make him change his mind. So Michael Aiken is at the plate. He's one of 3 Rockies that played for these same coaches last year. Hayes had trouble squeezing that one, but called to strike. Michael's pretty impressive. He's run a half marathon and multiple triathlons already. And he's 13, 14 years old.
He's achieved more than I have.
His resume is pretty good.
Keep running, kid. Keep running.
And he also has a sports media company that he started, so Shane, watch out.
The child has?
The child. The 14-year-old.
What kind of sports media company has he started?
That's all the research I have, Brian. Has already started a sports media company. So I don't know if he's doing the stats for his high school and selling them.
Where does he go to high school?
He doesn't go to high school yet, but he's at Kincaid, and he'll stay at Kincaid from all I understand. It's a quick strike. Looks like
I don't think Kincaid goes without much, though, you know.
Andrew Mittenholzer, this kid has about a dozen nicknames. And to me, I always thought the
Ant-Man, Cash-Man?
the more nicknames you have, the more universally loved you are. So if that says anything about Andrew, the coaches want to call him Andy, but he's never gone by Andy his entire life, but he's Andy on this team.
Social media influencer.
Yeah, I think it's his aspiration.
Do you realize that that's what every kid wants to be these days?
Well, they hear the stories about how much some of them are getting paid.
Mr. Beast, do you know he's the highest paid actor? I'm not kidding. No one makes more money than Mr. Beast. The days of Tom Hanks are done. There's a shot.
Oh. Hey, you know what? He put it in play. Nice. Not a bad job. So Andrew
Ant-Man
Mittenholzer hits the first
AKA wannabe
unassisted play by the first baseman there. I'm not sure how you scored that either. I think 3 unassisted. Is that right?
That would be 3 unassisted.
Oh, got it. And the only hitter we haven't seen so far yet for the Rockies is Austin O'Malley. He should be the next guy up. And when you see him, know that he hasn't made an error all season long. And he hasn't just played outfield. He's played second base for the Rockies as well. So even though he's the last batter you're going to see for the Rockies, he's a good baseball player. And that's, I think, what got the Rockies where they are this year, is they have a lot of depth.
The O'Malley?
Just everybody. They really don't have a player that's not going to come in and at least give you a good at-bat. And they got a lot of guys. Sam Barrett's another good example of a guy who's in 6th grade, but playing with these guys that are a year or two ahead of him in school, and just doing a great job of competing. He'll come in and play infield if they need him to. He hasn't pitched this season, but I bet he's going to pitch next year.
Sammy's going to Cooperstown.
I'm sure he is.
He is. They go in June. For those who don't know about Cooperstown, tell them about it.
Well, you're more qualified. I think you've been more than once, haven't you?
I've only been once just because of COVID, but Cooperstown's a really neat thing. It's the home of baseball, Hall of Fame.
And at the poll, is poll sending 2 teams or 3 teams this year?
I think they're sending 3 teams.
Okay.
3 teams go up, play in. The unique thing is everyone's wearing the same uniforms. They stay on site.
So it's like almost like dormitories.
Like camp.
Yeah. You're there 4 or 5 days. You get there, play 2 or 3 days of round-robin games, and you get seeded into a tournament, and then you're knocked out. And we got to do that last year. It's a lot of fun. It's beautiful.
Trivia
country.
question.
It's a perfect place to be at that time of year. First week in June, you want to be there and not in Houston.
Trivia question.
Sure.
Who owns, let me say it this way, the owner of Cooperstown Baseball owns 2 professional sports teams.
The Philadelphia 76ers owner, is that the guy?
Philadelphia Phillies,
Oh.
and now he owns the Denver Broncos.
Oh, he owns the Broncos.
Josh Harris. That's a
So
hit.
Thomas tees off, but it's just a single. But that's what you want. You want your leadoff batter to get on every time. So Maggie's at the plate. I'm going to expect that Thomas is going to run here. You might as well try to get him to second. And would you agree, Brian? If anybody's got 5 tools, I would say he's
got 6.
what's the 6th tool? Almost got him on the pickoff. Good throw by Chase.
I don't know what the 6 tool is, but I
He
think
might
I've
he
lost
might know what it
sound.
is.
Now I'm back.
It's because y'all are so close together, packed together.
There we go.
Chance for a double play.
Double play. There
Looks
we
like they
go.
got it. Beautiful play. There's Emilio Chavez Alhambio making that turn. I believe Walker O'Pry on the initial catch, or was that the third baseman that came across?
Third baseman, I think.
Sambray came across. If it was third, it was Walker. If it was short. So that's a huge couple of outs. You don't see very many double plays turned out here. The grass is a little bumpy. It's hard to make some plays out here. You'll see him every once in a while, but especially you see him a lot of times step on second, throw across the diamond, but it's pretty rare to get that turn.
Speaking of fields, there's a chance that Post Oak might have a permanent home in the near future.
Is there an announcement coming up?
There's not an announcement coming, but I know that it's in the works. So for all you loyal listeners, we're going to need some help.
So Eli Ferber back up. I have a memory burned in my mind with Ferber just a couple of fields over 2 years ago. There was a pitcher's duel. I think it was a 1-1 game. He came up in the bottom of the 6th inning.
To go over the left field fence.
Flicked it over the left field fence. Just threw the
Against
bat
Charlie
out there.
Randolph, right?
That's right. It wasn't a bad pitch. He's so big and strong.
Was that in the playoffs?
That was not in the playoffs. It was a regular season game, but it felt like the playoffs. It was a lot of fun. He was on the Cardinals, I believe, and Charlie was on the Red Sox. So no, that was a really good game. There's a strike. So
A lot of great memories are made out of Post Oak. They don't appreciate him now, but I think they'll appreciate him much older.
well, hopefully with Vype and some of these other things that we have now, a few of these will be on video, and you can check the facts on a few of them. Oh. Also battles back, so a full count now. And Ferber's got to protect the plater.
I always had a great, you know that in high school sports that they were required to film all of the games for insurance purposes. So sitting in most school districts is every high school football game on reels.
He battled back from a 3-0 and got him in 3 straight pitches. That is a big deal for the Rockies. So after 3, heading to the top of the 4th, still 2-2.
A lot of activity for 2-2.
Tons of base runners, and actually some pretty good pitching that got him out of it.
So we've had 9 hits combined.
Wow. And only 2 runs. Makes sense. You can. That double play is a big deal. That wipes out a run. The Rockies left 3 on base, and I think the Astros left 2 on base at the end of the 1st, and so a lot of runners left on base. Not a bad job hitting, but the pitchers have gotten the better of it. That was a really big comeback for the Rockies to go from 3-0 to get that strikeout, and that's the heart of the Astros order right there. That's number 3 or 4. That's their number 4 batter, and so it looks like the Rockies will be number 9, the number 9 spot, and then to the top of the order. So Austin O'Malley, he's the potential future influencer. Again, played a knockout second base for a couple of the games for the Rockies, stepped in and really did a great job. Chavez Alhambio moved over to short, and Austin played second and then made several really good plays, and they won that game. And then he's another one that's finishing 8th grade, heading to high school, joining his 2 brothers, 2 older brothers. There's a couple of guys that are youngest of 3 on this team.
Let's take a break real quick.
Got it. Austin O'Malley now ahead in the count. First 2 pitches are balls. Third one's in there for a strike, so he's ready to go now.
This, so we can throw it away. This is not working.
Okay.
That looked high. 3-1. O'Malley at the plate. Thomas Smith still up there. Let's check his pitch count, see how that's going. That was the 70th pitch, and that was a ball.
So he gets on base with a walk.
Lead off walk for the Rockies, and up to the top, back to the top of the order.
I moved microphones here. I'm onto a comedian microphone, so it's going to be really hard to hear you. But
is it only comedians that use those hand mics? I think rock stars.
Rappers use it
Rappers.
too.
Where's your drip? Starts him with the curveball that looks a little low from here.
72 pitches. If you make it through the inning,
He'll make it through this one, but this might, well, we'll see how the Rockies do.
who comes in after this?
Probably Ferber or Camarda. Chance for a double play here. They get, oh, he was safe on that one. That was close. Just barely enough to get there.
Almost a Maggi double play.
Wow. That's right. I see it now. So Green replaces O'Malley at first. 1 out. Hogan Zach up to the plate. Hogan came into this game and he's already extended it. He was on a 10-game hitting streak, so he's going to end the season on an 11-game hitting streak. Earlier in the season, he had a 4-for-4 game against the Padres, which that was one of the better teams this year, and that's in there for a hit, but just in the wrong spot. So it looked like it was off of Maggi's glove, but I think that's a hit. That was a hard hit ball. Hogan is 3 for 3. He squared up his Kincaid teammate there. And so now Osler comes up to the plate. 1 out. So he's made it to a championship game before, but it was in the minors with the Knights. I believe that was a David Dollinger coach team, but I'm not sure about that. You can check that for me on your.
Who?
Who was the coach of the Knights that year that
Did Osler?
that Otzler and I think O'Pry both played on that team, so they've been teammates before, which is pretty unusual.
I can't recall. We'll have to ask the statistician.
I thinking it was David Dollinger, but I'm not positive about that. That would have been a really stacked team if they had Andrew Dollinger and these other 2 guys.
Where's Andrew Dollinger this year?
Andrew was on the Giants or Orioles. He was one of the many orange teams that we have out here.
I still think one of the greater plays I've ever seen in Little League Baseball was Thomas Smith was on the All-Star team. They were in sectionals playing Pearland. Ball hit to, he's playing shortstop, pop fly. He drops it on purpose to turn an easy double play. Heads up for a 12-year-old.
He did it again in the playoffs this year. He did it in the inning that he came out from pitching. He dropped a ball that could have been called an infield fly, but it didn't. Ump said it didn't go high enough, and he dropped the ball on purpose, and luckily the runners didn't fall for it. So the runners for the Rockies advance. That was another really close call on the base paths.
Good throw by the catcher there.
Camarda's doing great back there. And so now what the Rockies need is some contact. 1 out, 2 strikes. With O'Pry on deck. Boy, he got him again. So I think Thomas seems especially ready for a couple of those guys that he goes to school with. He seemed pretty happy about getting chased for the
2-2,
third
2
time.
outs here. Top of the 4th.
O'Pry, who's been an RBI machine, but he's got to put it in play now against Thomas and give these guys a chance to get home.
I'd have laid down
Or we need a wild pitch. We being the Rockies. I was in the tower a little too long for that team, so.
I think I would have laid down a bunt back there if I was Osler.
Maybe once you get him to second and third, but it would have to be perfect. It's not easy. It's not easy when he's throwing it as hard, and frankly, he's adjusting speeds. He's not throwing the same whatever it is, 72, 73 mile an hour fastball each time, you'll watch he'll speed up on certain pitches and slow down and still have the control that he needs to have. So we'll see how O'Pry does his second time or third time up.
I'd bunt here, even with 2 outs. One of the things I think that's pretty critical is that you almost want to get in a pickle here.
I don't know. You got your best RBI hitter at the plate. I mean, I get it.
You also got.
I also think you might think about
playing small ball, and it's in the 4th inning.
Taking a couple pitches. That's not a bad idea to take that pitch. At the very least, you're working the count up. And Smith is now at about 80.
Here's when you run right here.
That was a foul ball.
You go get in a pickle right here.
Maybe in
if you
Pee-wee,
got the best RBI hitter, you put him back up at the plate. If he's out, you take a gamble.
second and third, I like his chances to get a hit better than I like my chances in a pickle with the Astros.
Even
if this
with
was
2
Pee-wee,
strikes?
if this is Pee-wee, you're playing,
You can't do it
the
in
Cardinal
Pee-wee.
and the Ducks or whatever it is. I can see you doing that. You can't steal home then anyway, but
I'm stealing home here.
I'm slashing. Show bunt. Not sure you can do that. Maybe for the championship you can.
The odds, I think, would be higher.
2 strikes on O'Pry. Good eye.
Now I would go.
Steal home.
I think if you polled the
Can we do we have a polling?
the Teamsters would poll. The Teamsters would say you got a higher probability run across right here in a pickle than you do on a hit.
Hey, you know what? The pitch count's going up.
82 pitches.
82. I think that was 83. He's throwing a ton of strikes. Almost through the 4th inning here. And the O'Pry just needs to straighten one out.
So the covered in 2s.
Bullet low there. It's a tough take. Can't be disappointed in that pitch if you're Smith.
Here we go. Full count. 2-2.
Good battle.
Top of the 4th.
He just so he took the pitch. He nearly took your advice and still home. Got halfway.
Why is he not at home?
No, because it was a walk. He caught the ball. The catcher caught the ball. He's dead to rights. He's pretty fast, but he's not that fast. So Bray is up now. He's the number 5 hitter. Definitely one of the mashers for the Rockies. And at very least here, they've worked the count enough.
Bray's 2 for 2.
He's 2 for 2. So Smith is due is one way to think about it. Or he may be getting tired. We'll see. But only about 10 pitches to go. And then the Astros are going to need to go to their dugout. At the very least, you'd hope that Bray gets a couple of good cuts in here, maybe puts one in play, makes the Astros defense work. This is the heart of the Rockies lineup, so at the very least they got through this tough part of the lineup for the next inning. He gets a call on the outside.
All right, 0-1 here.
0-1.
They get out of a big jam there.
Nice play by Maggie,
Out of a
the
big
younger
jam.
Maggie. Brooks, right? Second
Brooks
base.
to Jack on a little flip throw.
Yep.
On a chopper.
So we head to the bottom of the 4th.
2-2.
Chase is only at about 43 pitches, so about half the pitch count. He still has to pitch the bottom of this inning. He's made it through 3 innings with less than 45 pitches, though, so they have to be happy with where he is. And I'd have to argue that the Rockies have a deeper bullpen than the Astros do. We'll see, though. It's going to be fun. 2-2. The catcher was on base, so it may take a second to get the get back out there. One of the big differences tonight is that there's no time limit. Normally it's a 1 hour and 40-minute time limit.
Which has ruined a lot of great rallies, hasn't it?
It makes it much easier if you're really a great pitching team, because if you get up and you can just run timeout, you don't have to worry about burning other guys and letting guys even get on the mound that you don't want to pitch. And so the time limit definitely helps.
I will tell you though, going out to select baseball versus here at Country Club Baseball here at Post Oak, there's not as many shenanigans that are played with the time, to whereas in select ball we've seen the catchers change 2 times in 1 inning. And
we had a game early in the season. The Rockies had a game earlier in the season with there was a couple of minutes to go, and the players all untied their shoes before they walked out of the dugout, so they had to tie their shoes as they came up to the plate each time. And after the second guy started doing it, the umpire stopped the clock and said, "You're not getting away with this." So there's definitely some shenanigans that happens here too. But
is that shenanigans or is that fun?
Oh, they're all fun. If you take it, you
that's
can't take
run
it
by
too
the
seriously.
kids. That's not by a coach.
It might have been a coach that told him to do it. I'm not sure. It was really
well
well orchestrated, chaos.
We're about to be approached by the great Shane Hildreth. He's the CEO, founder of Vype Media.
Is he?
He is. Shane has revolutionized.
I forgot to mention, I'm not sure when Camarda's coming up to bat, but he told me that Shane was his favorite dugout dad that he ever had.
Shane was also...
he wasn't his coach, he was his dugout dad. He clarified that.
I was a co-coach
for the White
with
Sox.
Shane.
He said he was his favorite coach, and we decided he's only his favorite dugout dad.
Shane's a 2-time world champion. He was a Pee Wee champion and a major champion. And he won the COVID championship, too, as the minor. So he would be a 3-time champion as well. World champion. All right, Tree Levin up to bat here.
Another one of the Kincaid guys. He's played mostly center field for the Astros tonight. Takes strike 1. So Chase is doing a great job of finding the strike zone tonight. Occasionally, he'll get a little anxious up there, throw a little too hard and lose control. And he's doing a much better job. I don't want to jinx the team here, but a much better job of pumping him in there for strikes and letting his defense make some plays. And so far, they've helped him out. Nice play by center field earlier. The nice double play turn. So,
you know, the other thing that's really changed in my 10 years of being here is the fashion. You know, when I first started, every kid wore long pants. But when we started, we all had stirrups and short pants. But if you notice, the short pants have made a big comeback back out here.
Well, the really short pants, you'll see some of the guys pull the pants up above their knees, and I think they think that they're making the strike zone a little smaller.
Is that what they're trying to do?
I think they're trying to make the strike zone smaller.
Are you sure it's not drip?
It's both. So a quick strikeout. I think that was 4 pitches.
My favorite is the sliding glove in the Majors League. Can they slide head first?
No.
So it's pure drip.
I guess it is. I didn't know it was. I thought that might be banned.
Now, can you explain to me the sliding glove?
So I think it's, the intention is good. They're protecting the fingers.
Is that what it's for, protecting the fingers?
Yeah, you don't want to break a finger sliding in.
But doesn't it still, it's neoprene.
No, but it's like a fin in there.
Oh, there is a fin in there.
I think so. Is this Maggi coming up? Yeah, Maggi was after. So Brooks Maggi at the plate. Smallest strike zone in the game tonight.
If y'all have noticed, Brooks' glove represents the Marlins. He still wants to be a Marlin.
Do you know why?
I do know why. Number one is that I coached the Marlins and he was on my team. And number 2, his dad's associated with the real Marlins.
Oh. So I'm thinking of the Marlins from the majors last year. Charlie, my son, said that was his favorite pull memory. Was the playoff victory against the Marlins. Do you remember the score of that one?
A lot to a little.
Yeah, that was a quick one.
A lot to a little.
Up until this season, it was the lone playoff win that number 12 for the Rockies had ever had. So.
Is Miles Kelly playing this year?
He's not playing Post Oak this year. He's playing baseball.
He was a great player.
He is a great player.
Is this my nephew, Porter Cyrus? Porter's been playing right field here. Hit a hard one back to the pitcher.
That one finds the strike zone.
I think he was taking that one.
Yeah, Porter's up, number 7 for the Astros.
Porter also went to Western Academy.
Okay.
I watched Porter recite a poem. That's going to be
Good play
Good
by
play.
Emilio. I believe that's the second out, strikeout, tree 11, ground out for Cyrus. And this should bring up J.D. Strebe.
JD's playing a lot of golf these days.
JD's a good baseball player. He made it to the finals, the championship last year.
He was an
with the
Astros.
Red Sox. With the Red Sox.
JD
So
was
he
a
made it
Red
to the
Sox.
final, lost. He wears those pants high and tight every season. He's playing a lot of golf. I think he's the oldest of 7 or 8 boys. How many do they have? Maybe just 3 or 4.
The Strebies?
Seems like they have 7 or 8. There's a lot of hair. So Strebe is another one of the Spring Branch Middle kids. And the JD on the JD Strebe is John Douglas.
Are you sure we're not up to Van Dyke?
I'm positive that's not Maximus Van Dyke.
Maximus
That's definitely JD Strebe. This is an odd in batting order. They have Van Dyke up there, but boy, that doesn't look like him. If it is, I apologize to the parents and the fans. All 47 of you? I bet. So I think it's Strebe. Looks like Strebe from here.
Last year we had in the hundreds listening to us.
I think it helped that it was a weekend,
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
They enjoyed our commentary more.
Henry Simons was in the game. That also helped.
He was.
A lot of levity.
Right. We had a lot of material to work with.
It writes itself.
Chase
I'm worried
using
we're
the chalk.
losing fans to the Astros game. I'm not sure what the score is or what's going on, but
The big Astros?
the big Astros, the other Astros.
They play
the
162
other
of them.
Astros.
They don't matter.
Now this one, these kids are going to remember this for a long time. Maybe not the rest of their lives, but for a really long time.
Especially if they win.
You got the call there.
So
I'm
through
still
four.
pretty sure that's Strebe. So through 4, we have, I would say, safe to call it a pitcher's duel. There's been some hits, but top of the 5th. I'm guessing that Thomas Smith is going to come back out, but doesn't have many pitches left.
He's got 9.
Yep. Well, so he's thrown 87, and after he throws that 95th pitch, he gets to finish that same batter.
Right.
And so could be a little
Could be the
more,
whole
could be a
inning.
little less. Right? It absolutely could be the whole inning.
But we're playing 7 tonight.
They're playing. So the last
Dash
batter,
is back up. Dash 2.
the last batter for the Astros was Owen
Owen Piper finished second in the all nickname. He better hustle. So there's Daniel again, the number 6 hitter.
So Dash, I call him Dash. Anyone who has a dash in their last name,
Got it.
he's always a great baseball player.
Not hyphen.
Oh.
It's easier. Dash is better. I was confused. I thought we were talking about the Dowels. So Murray's up. So a leadoff single to the right side of the infield. And yeah, Jack Murray at the plate. He's 0 for 1 tonight. He's definitely working the count. That looked low, so 2 balls, 1 strike.
It's 90th pitch. They're coming up on the 91st pitch right
Getting
here.
close to the end for Thomas Smith. You can't be upset, only allowing 2 runs. They stranded a ton of runners. He allowed more hits, I'm sure, than he wanted to. But those 3 strikeouts, when he had Chase Otzler at the plate, were incredibly big. And that's all you got to do as a pitcher, keep him from coming across home plate. You're not worried about giving up hits. That's another low pitch. So that's a single followed by a walk. And this should be, barring a first pitch. Oh, they're coming out to visit with Smith. They might go ahead and pull him here. He really only got a couple pitches left.
Coaches out there, what do you think they're saying?
I think he's either telling him this is your last batter, which I'm guessing that's really got to be the case. That was a good at bat by Jack. He definitely could have taken a cut at a couple of those. They were close pitches. I think the ump had it right, but it's a good job going in there and taking pitches from a tough pitcher. You want to hit, you want to move that runner around, but it's even better to take 4 balls. Actually, I
Who
think
do
it
we
was
have up to bat here?
Sammy Barrett.
Sammy
Got a good one.
Barrett.
Got a good one on Sammy.
Yeah.
So, okay, their flow is the hair, right? Coming out the back of the hat.
Drip and flow.
Drip and flow. So Barrett has a arguably some of the best flow out here. Got good locks going.
You know, he has South African blood in him.
I'll take your word for it.
Mr. Barrett's from South Africa.
There you go. And so Sammy has some good flow, but according to his mom, when he was born, he had no flow. Not just no hair on his head. A lot of babies are born bald. He basically is like a comeback kid for alopecia.
He's got some, like, where I grew up, they called it Jerry curl.
I don't know if he has, I'm not sure. He has Jerry curl. He's got some locks. He's got some flow.
Tight curls?
I don't think they're too tight. No. He's got some good baseball flow. And this is definitely now the last batter for Smith. Sam's actually doing a great job. Even if it wasn't the last pitch, he just worked the count, or made him work for it. 4 straight strikes, but the last 2 were fouled off by Barrett. But no, there was no alopecia. It was just a very, very bald baby with no eyebrows that now has the best flow in the Rockies. Good pitch by Smith. That should be the last of his night.
Forrest, you know we love all these kids out here.
Absolutely.
Thomas is such a great player.
So he's able to get the strikeout with his last pitch. And it looks like Ferber is going to get ready, switching his glove out. So unless he's going to switch and play shortstop, I think he's going to get on the mound and warm up right now. And it's a huge contrast, which you'll see from Eli Ferber.
Ross.
Here, Brian. It's a huge contrast you'll see between what Ferber throws compared to Thomas. Thomas was whipping it in there, low 70s, and I think it's at least a 10-mile-per-hour difference when Eli takes the mound. He's a good pitcher, though. He has the second most innings and pitches in the playoffs for the Astros. So he's not a slouch. Just that guys have to really adjust. And it looks like it'll be Emilio Chavez-Lajambio next up to bat. So the 9-hole for the Rockies. So just a little reset. Second base, Daniel Chavez-Lajambio. Jack Murray.
Ferber up.
Ferber's warming up. Big 44. So they left the other pitcher that we might see tonight, if they need him. Could be Trelevin, but I think much more likely is going to be Camarda. So he'd come out of catcher. I'm not sure who jumps in at catcher. I'm sure they have a couple guys that could step in and catch. But Camarda's had a couple good games this season. Throws hard. I thought they may actually even think about starting Ferber or Camarda just to see how far they could go. But I think
you got to go with your ace.
I think you go with your ace, and they did. I think the Rockies have to be really happy with the fact that they were able to work through and get some runs off of Thomas. They got a couple the other day as well in their first matchup. But a ton of hits tonight. So Emilio Chavez-Lajambio, the sole representative from Western, unless you count Porter Cyrus from a few years ago.
Great school.
He takes strike one. I don't know if I got to say it earlier, but we had we were wrong on JD Strebe. It was Owen Piper that was the last out, the last inning. Oh, okay. So good eye by Emilio.
They get him?
They haven't. Boy, that was
G-Mini
close.
cricket.
That was close. So second and third. Daniel gets in under the tag.
Hitters count here.
Emilio's way ahead, and then it flips to the top of the order for the Rockies. So the steal didn't. The steal would have been. It would have been really bad to get caught right there. I don't know why you need to steal when you're that far ahead and they're just having trouble finding the zone. So Green comes up at the for the Rockies with the bases juiced, one out. You know, one thing you want to avoid here: the line drive.
Murray's a hitting machine.
Ray's on second. Green's up. Now with the Rockies, Charlie Green's up. The middle school playground is in full force now behind us. Finds the strike zone, 1-1.
We got a lot of commotion, a lot of attendees out here. It's a packed house. It's amazing to watch the kids. They start really young here at Post Oak. They can barely tie their shoe. By the end of it, they're talking to girls.
A lot of these guys are heading to high school in about, they'll be done with middle school in a couple of days.
So 2-1.
Uh-oh.
It's going to be an error.
So
Runner's going to score.
Just enough. At the very least, you need to stay out of the double play there, and they were managed to do that. In fact, the Astros were not able to get it out. He wasn't able to field it cleanly. Good job by Brooks to step in front of that one.
Who's at second now?
I'm sorry, it's not Brooks. Who is it? Is that Owen? So the Rockies take the lead. Still one out. Ferber on the plate. He's moving quick. So Thomas Smith, it looks like, stepped in at shortstop. So another hit, and it just skips by. That's going to be 2 or 3 runs there.
This could score everyone.
They got 3.
That's a base clearing.
Clearing double. Hogan Zach is on fire. He's at least 3 for 3. He has at least 3 hits tonight. I think he has 4. So that's
Hogan Zach just changed the game.
That's the 9th or 10th hit for the Rockies. Still just 1 out. Now 6-2. So the floodgates have opened for the Rockies. It looks like Hogan is, well, let's see, it's catching up here. 4 for 4 with 4 RBI. He is the difference in the game right now, and he's doing a great job at catcher as well. His coach came out to see Eli, and so they're going to leave him in. But the traffic has died down. Hogan just cleared the bases. He's having a great game, and Chase gets to come up to bat, and I'm sure he's happy that Thomas is not pitching anymore.
Chase has pitched a heck of a game tonight.
He's absolutely done his job. The Astros can hit. That's why they're in this position. They've won their playoff games by an average of 3 or 4 runs. So it's a number 3 batter in the Rockies order. Hogan at second.
2-0 here.
A little bit surprised he didn't try to take that base. That was close but low.
I'm taking here at 3-0.
I think you got to take, especially with.
How long do you let Eli go?
Depends on how good you feel about the next pitcher that you're going to bring up. So he's definitely having trouble finding the zone, and when he does, the Rockies have been able to put their bat on it. Looks like Eli's saying he's done. He's done. So first and second, we're going to see another pitching change.
Changing pitchers again.
Who are we going to?
Is that Van Dyke that came in, 23 from first base? So at least they're switching out their gloves again. Eli will go back to first base.
Who will go to the mound?
The difference right there was that play at second base. If they're able to even just to get 1 out right there, that's a real difference maker. Much less, there was a chance they could have turned 2. And so he can't be that frustrated with how he did. I know the walks are tough, but he got the ground out, or the ground ball that he needed. His infielders just didn't quite make the play when they needed to.
So who's on the mound now?
That's Maggi. Jack Maggi. Jack Maggi, number 6. Double check me, but it says J Maggi from here. So what you got to hope for here, if you're an Astros fan, is that just stop the bleeding, right?
So Jack hadn't really pitched much this year. I think he's had a pretty hurt arm.
Is that right?
But I think at this level, they'll grit it out.
Well, he's gotten a lot taller last year or so. Just threw one about a 3/4 arm position, so not over the top as Thomas was. So you've got O'Pry coming up for the Rockies. And then
6-2.
Bray.
We're playing 7.
We're playing 7, so there's plenty of time left. If Chase can keep pitching, hitting the zone, they should have pretty good luck protecting the lead, but you can't ever hurt to knock on a couple more runs. After 5, I believe it's 10 after 5. So the Rockies need to get a little greedy here, try to knock in a couple more. So Maggi's on the mound.
Walker O'Pry, remember he's a flipping champion.
He's also a fisherman and a Whataburger aficionado. He liked that first pitch. One
Fly
pitch,
ball,
1 out.
Center.
Nice play by Treliving to get in there. So Bray is up, 2 outs. Good job by Maggi putting it right down the middle for O'Pry. And you've got to Remember, these guys for the entire game have been trying to work the count with Thomas pitching. So Hogan takes third. So now you've got first and third. That was ball one to Bray. Now Chase goes to second. So you got second and third, 2 balls, no strikes. So you got to think Chase is trying to. Sam takes ball 3. That one was close. That was a good pitch by Maggi. It wasn't too far off. So Daniel Chavez Alhambio is next up to bat.
Maggi finds the strike zone.
So
3-1.
3-1. And Daniel has 2 hits on the night. So he's up next. Sam has 2 hits, so he takes a high ball 4.
I think at this level, right now, how deep does the pen go for him? How deep is their bullpen from here?
Well, I definitely think they could go to Camarda. But I don't know who their next best catcher is.
Camarda?
Camarda can pitch. Camarda can definitely pitch.
Huh?
Camarda can pitch.
He's had a couple of really good games this season.
I think that if you catch,
I believe there's no catcher pitcher rule in juniors.
no catcher pitch.
So a really good job by Jack. He's working incredibly fast. He had 2 quick strikes on Daniel.
It takes a while to find your groove as a young child pitching.
These guys are 13, 14 years old now. He's able to make contact and fought off a really high pitch there. And so Daniel, who's 2 for 3 on the night, is trying to get his teammates home here in the top of the 5th. He puts it in play. And second baseman gets to make another play for the Astros. So they're able to get out of that jam despite all that traffic. It's still only 6-2. Rockies
Midway through 5.
So there's definitely 9 more outs that the Rockies have to get to put them away. So it's not nearly over. Plenty of time. There's all the time in the world left, and they have to get 9 more outs. And so they absolutely could have the same trouble finding the strike zone. And the Astros are very capable hitters, so a lot of time to go.
Well, we'll come back to you in a minute.
So, Cade Polidori up for the Astros. Strike one's in there. Cade is a multi-sport athlete. He's a really good basketball player. Plays for his middle school team. He's played some select basketball over the years. Strike two, swinging. And Cade has one of those kids that's pretty enterprising. He's gone into the golf ball business. They live pretty close.
Polidori?
Polidori. They live pretty close to a place where they can find a lot of golf balls, and he manages to sell them to his friends at school. And if I had to, the most likely to be an entrepreneur out of the 25 kids at this game, I guess Aiken or one of the guys has or middle. Which one already has his own company? But Polidori's on his heels. Camarda up now, strike one, swinging. This is the top of the order for the Astros.
It's not what the Astros needed.
Chase keeps it himself. He has had a little trouble earlier in the season making that short throw, kind of some yips that occasionally happen when you're making an unusual throw like that short throw from pitcher to first base, and so he just kept it himself and beat Camarda to the bag. Nice thing for the Rockies here is you've got their best hitter up with the Astros, best hitter up, and nobody on base for him to knock in. So barring a home run, he can't hurt you that much. Nice play by Emilio, and very quick inning by the Rockies. They've got to be really happy with that, especially top of the sixth now. And that was three really quick outs, and two of them are a couple of the Astros' best players. So
Got some uphill battle here, but
it's definitely swinging in the Rockies' direction right now, but there's still 6 outs to get, and plenty of baseball to go. They need to tack on a couple more runs here to make it a more comfortable lead. 4 runs sounds like a lot, but out here that can happen really quick.
So Maggi back up on the mound, 6-2.
You got Murray. Murray's had
Astros need to
a.
make quick of this inning.
That they're not really in a hurry. They just need to get the 3 outs and not let any more runs sneak across there. They're not really worried about pitch counts anymore. Murray has a 420 on base percentage on the season, so to get something like that out of a guy that's number 6-7 hitter, you feel good about that if you're a Rockies fan. First couple pitches are up high. That one's in there for a strike. So 2-1. You gotta reel it back going now.
2-2.
So now Murray's got to work.
Coming off the end of retrograde, I think anything can happen.
Oh. I think that's the first off-speed pitch that he's shown him, and that was in there for a strike. That was a nice pitch by Maggi. The arm looks like it's feeling fine right now. So Sammy Barrett up. We talked about his drip and flow. What we didn't talk about is his favorite food.
Sushi has to be.
It's not. It's a component.
It's a who?
He's a white rice guy. Favorite food is white rice.
You know, might be a bodybuilder.
Gives him a lot of energy. I'm not sure about building anything, but definitely get the energy out of that white rice. Oh, hit him in the back.
Hit by a pitch. Good news, he's got a bunch of white rice in him to
Yeah.
keep protection.
Fried rice might be a little better if you're getting hit by a pitch. So Emilio Chavez Lajambio at the plate. 1 out.
You know, the funny part is when we were young, they thought you ate bagels to lose weight. Remember that?
Maybe in Tyler.
That was what they did.
In New York, that's never worked.
In Tyler, that's
In
what they
Tyler,
said.
you went to diet bagel.
Yes. And the bagel came in town.
Was ice cream the other thing on the weight loss? Ice cream was the other. Oh, you put some
A lot of
cream cheese on top. That's like,
Not ice cream.
well, you could do. Well, I'm just talking about the other weight loss plans there in Tyler.
That's more for the bulking up.
So Sammy plays with. We mentioned Miles Kelly earlier. He was one of the best players in majors last year. Led the league in home runs. Was one of the better pitchers. And he and Sammy play baseball together on the weekends on the tournament team. Jesse is their coach, and from what Sam says, he's easily his favorite coach. So no offense to Blake Barano. Or to Shane, but he loves Jesse. He loves playing for Jesse, and so he's been playing for him for probably 3 years now.
It's a great perk of playing at Post Oak is there's a bunch of great gentlemen, former baseball players that are dedicated their whole life to these kids to help develop them. And
they do a great job of working with the kids. They do a great job of finding those kids that want to play more baseball and giving them a chance to do that. And so you don't have to be the best player in the league to keep playing baseball and working on it. And these dads, I can speak for myself. I can only mess a kid up so much coaching him, and these coaches that come out.
They know about baseball.
Yeah, they know a lot about baseball, and I think it's great for them to get a pretty wild to me. I'll put that one on Jack.
We'll let the score.
So we'll see how it comes across. What'd you get? Wild pitch. So
You know,
Sammy
I
Barrett's
played,
on second.
I played college sports, and my 10-year-old has had, I bet, 5 times as many lessons as I ever had.
Yeah, I don't remember ever having any sort of pitching or hitting lessons. See-ball, hit ball is the baseball that I played. So Emilio takes a cut at a high fastball.
So Jack brings him down with 2.
That's 2 outs. Man on second, top of the order for the Rockies. It's the top of the 6th.
CeeLo Green.
No relation.
CeeLo Green was on the great 2022 Post Oak 12-year All-Star team. The 12-year All-Star team wins district in the second game, which Forrest was a coach of.
I was almost like I was like a third or fourth.
You were
coach.
in the dugout.
I was in the dugout, but I mean,
your feet touched the grass.
Yeah, I wasn't a base coach.
And it's in the last inning. And did he hit a grand slam?
Not Charlie, no, but Michael Kafka absolutely hit a grand slam
For us,
the top of the inning. So it wasn't a walk-off; it was the top of the inning, and they won that game. They held him in the bottom of that inning. Oh,
and that was a play by
nice
Thomas
play.
Smith.
Yep.
That was athletic. Bobbled it a little bit deep into the hole.
Yep.
and threw a laser
Yep.
across the diamond.
Yep,
Might have been the fastest throw he's thrown all day.
probably the only guy that can make that play, but he made a good play, bobbled it a little bit, was able to recover.
So 2022,
Mhm.
the Post Oak All-Star team has to win 2 games against West U to advance. Now this is to go to the Little League World Series, right?
It's trying to get to the Little World Series
Trying to get to
to
the
try
Little-
to get to sectionals, I think, at that point.
And
And the district is probably the hardest point.
And so they lose to Post Oak. Our kids were both on that team. They lose to West U, the first to go into the losers bracket
early in the tournament. That's right.
And then there's a pitch limitation that each kid can only pitch so many times. So the first game, our pitcher throws a no-hitter.
yeah, I think
Hudson Hamilton throws
Yeah.
a no-hitter, assisted by Jake Czar. They throw a no-hitter, and then they go into the second game, and we're down by how many?
at least 3. The Grand Slam put him ahead.
And Michael Kafka was a child who was never on the All-Star team until his last year, and is the most famous kid out here that has one of the greatest moments ever.
He definitely has a
And then we went on to play
shining
who?
moment. No, they had to beat West U twice. And
They
that
beat
was, that
West
was
U,
it.
and then we played.
No, that was it.
And then we went to sectionals.
played in sectionals, got through the other team, some of the other teams in sectionals, but then
Went to the finals.
and Pearland was just too much.
And Pearland was one of the teams.
fantastic.
They made it to the Little League World
They
Series.
made it through those next couple rounds. Got to go to Williamsport.
And one of the most famous, probably pictures in 2022 was that pitcher
Absolutely hitting that player from I can't remember the other team was
hugging
from.
together in Williamsport.
Yeah, he felt so bad that huge third baseman that the Pearland team had. I think it was the coach's son. Hit a player right in the side of the helmet, knocked him down, and Pearland didn't make it to the finals, but they were one of the better teams there. They definitely put up a great fight. They were a great team.
Quite a memory Post Oak has. So there's just a lot of great baseball that comes out of here.
So we're trying to keep up from deep in right field. Jack Maggi, I believe. Just a little delayed.
They
And
need a
Chase
rally
is still
right here.
Chase is still pitching. The defense sets up almost just the same. Austin O'Malley in right, Daniel Chavez Lajambio in center, and I believe Michael Aitken is now in left.
So Chase will go the distance.
Don't speak too early, but he's he's now on the number 4 hitter, and they just need a few more outs.
The crowd we have out here tonight.
I think all of the
Ticket sales.
I don't think Kincaid has any tests tomorrow. Ticket sales.
Ticket sales have to be it.
The take at the parking lot was just fantastic.
Remember I told you about how long the people at the concession stand have been there?
30
Maria?
years. 30 years.
They're almost 29 years.
Okay.
She's raised her kids off of this place, so she appreciates every parent.
A couple
that
of
comes out
close
here.
pitches there, but now it's 3-1.
I think it's 2-1.
We'll see. You're right. Oh, so he just told him to go to first base. The ump had the same count I did.
So 3-1.
I'm not sure what's going on now. I thought the ump just pointed to first. So 3-1. That looked good from here.
Full count here. They got us over here in the doghouse or the outhouse or whatever you want to call it.
I'm glad we're not closer to all those
Young
kids.
boys.
And now it's a little quieter over here now. It's much easier. Only problem is
One of the big differences that happens at this age is puberty.
let's talk about puberty, Brian. Let's talk about puberty a little bit.
It's a great equalizer.
So as one of the parents on this team, I can say that the last 6 months have been an eye-opener. And I think it's fair to say that Michael Kafka, when he hit that home run last year, had just jumped a little bit ahead of some of these other guys, and that power was definitely helped by those hormones.
Twitching
Those
a little
hormones.
harder.
Absolutely good for him
And
for
it
making
is
the contact.
unbelievable the difference between puberty and non-puberty at this age.
Well, you say that, and you got a guy that's 6 feet tall step into the plate right now. So
It's the same difference that when they start from 8 and go to 9, the difference in that 1 year and just in growth and size.
it's about 30 yards away in the Pee Wee field right there. The kids look tiny over there. And it really hasn't been that long. But, yeah, some of these guys are having big growth spurts. It's actually a little tricky playing baseball as you're growing that fast because it's hard to adjust.
So for some of these
Mechanics.
kids, this is their 7th year at Post Oak.
Right.
They started as an 8-year-old. They play 2 years on machine pitch. Then
That's
they
right.
play 1 to 2 years in minors,
Correct.
where the kids start to pitch.
Usually just 1 year of majors.
Or
Occasionally,
2
a couple of
years.
guys get pulled up.
A lot of these kids play 2 years in majors. And that's going to be a double play.
Another double play by the Rockies. That's a huge deal. Maggi did such a good job of getting on base there. And it wasn't a bad hit by Ferber, but Walker O'Prime makes a nice play at shortstop, unassisted, throws to first. So now you have 2 outs.
4 outs to make. 4 outs, 4 runs.
Yeah. So Tree Levin at the plate. He's made some good contact tonight.
So for 7 years, some of these kids, this is the last time they'll play baseball, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like you said, the high school programs are so competitive. You can keep playing tournament
There was
ball.
4 kids from Post Oak that made Memorial High School baseball team.
Okay. Out of the 20 that made the team total? Roughly.
One kid, his name was Jake Ernest. He was a freshman. He made it all the way to varsity as a freshman and led the team in batting average.
I didn't know
Post
that. I know he
Oak
made the team.
produces athletes.
So that's a no, it's tough. There's 600,
1-1,
it's
2
about
outs.
650 kids per grade. You got to be a really good baseball player to be in the top. What is that? 3%.
It's an honor to make the team.
Oh, that's a nice
Doesn't
hit.
get through.
Has a chance to get him at first. Not a bad idea by O'Malley. Plains.
O'Malley still is error-free.
He's still error-free. Glad you were paying attention earlier. So came up firing. Didn't crow hop there, but so it should be Brooks. Yeah, Brooks Maggi now stepping up.
Brooks is small in size, but mighty in heart.
So that's a big deal right there. That night, that was a hit for William. That was his first hit of the night, and just to be able to turn over the order, if the Astros are able to turn over the order and get the top of their order, give them a chance to bat.
Doesn't go to first.
Nope.
Overthrows it, and that.
So it would have been a little easier to go to second there. He sailed it. So no run score, but you've got first and third.
Runners at the corners
And
now.
again, they're flipping the order. They're giving themselves a chance to flip the order. So it looks like
My nephew's up.
Porter Cyrus. You need to step aside for a second.
Porter, I have a feeling right now.
So you've told me before that Porter got his looks from his mom.
Um,
Was that you?
No.
Okay.
Porter's father is he looks like the statue of David.
I'm not asking for any details on that one.
And that could be. That was a good hit by Porter.
No, not a bad hit at all. That would drop in maybe early in the season, but the Rockies shortstop goes out and makes the play in shallow center field, makes up for the high throw. The error does not hurt the Rockies.
We're back now.
Oh.
Yeah.
One
Welcome
more
back.
inning here.
So
We've had a great
Maria's been a
woman
great
here.
assist.
Maria's
Absolutely.
just been unbelievable. She's had a lot of technical difficulties to deal with. She's got computers and cords going everywhere, and we're out here set up in the middle of.
Brian, you're one walking technical difficulty, so.
Huh?
You're a walking technical difficulty, so the
am
fact
a
that she's
walking
able to handle you is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time I think it's the retrograde.
So the
I have a
moon,
feeling
I'm
that
not
this
sure about the
moon's
cycles of the moon, but I
crazy.
think that's what you're referring to.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, I think that something's going to happen right here.
Okay. For the Rockies' sake, I hope not. They are going to get to have the top of their order come up at the end of the, or at some point in the
But the
bottom
Astros
of the
will
seventh.
bat last.
Astros get to bat last. There's no time limit. If we'd been playing with the time limit, the game would have been over about 20 minutes ago. So
you
we're at
think there's
about
a tiring factor, or
we're
these
about
kids
2
don't
hours and
get
10
tired?
minutes in. I don't think they're very tired. A lot of these guys play 2 and 3 games on a Saturday or Sunday. They play 2 on Saturday all
So
the
they got
time.
massive attrition.
They're just fine.
It's hard for me to get out of
And
bed
they've had
in the
to,
morning.
and they've had a lot of rest coming into this game. So we've got should be Hogan Zach coming up, number 2, who's nearly perfect on the
He
night.
changed the game.
He's had a great game.
He's MVP right now in my book.
I don't know. I'd have a hard time not giving it to Chase if he's able to pitch the entire game. Even despite the trouble he's had at the plate, he's had a great night on the mound.
Actually, I'd give the game ball to your son. Isn't that how it works out here?
No, there's no.
If you wanna learn
Barano's going to
about,
give it to Hogan, and he'll deserve it. And Chase has done a great job. I think those guys have been the offense and the defense for this team. The Rockies, like I said, are a really balanced team. And so far, they've had, 2 or 3 double plays tonight. Definitely have had some web gems, and then have done enough at the plate to have a 6-2 lead at this point.
What do they call it? You're in the money management business where a dad gives his son the company. What do they call that?
Succession? What are you talking about? When they're an heir? When they're
Preferential treatment.
okay, nepotism you're talking about. Is that what you're looking for?
Nepotism.
Yeah,
This
they're
would be
just
a good
giving him a
place.
job,
This
much
is-
less
this is a good
the
case
company.
study on nepotism, don't you think so? They call it daddy ball, right?
They do, and I think a lot of us do everything we can to avoid playing daddy ball.
But
I hope I haven't been guilty of that over the years. But it's much nicer to be able to watch the games and
That's
not
the
have to
good
worry
part
about
about
which
juniors.
pitcher's coming in next. Absolutely, and to
No
get
dads are in the dugout.
it's really nice also to have, not that I guess I could have recruited 5 or 6 guys to help me coach a team over the years, and I guess any of these coaches or dads could, but it's great that they have multiple players or multiple coaches out helping these players to improve. I think it's really got to be really fun for these kids at 13 and 14 years old
What
to
about
get to know
kids
these
at
guys that are
26 years?
25. Yeah, if these kids are 25 and
You gotta
26
give a
years
big
old.
props for these guys. They put in a lot of time and effort. They practice 4 days a week.
It's pretty rare. I think there's fewer practices.
Oh,
in
that's what they
juniors.
do in the other leagues.
In
in
the
other divisions.
Pee-wees, there's definitely rules about how many touches you get over the course of a.
So 8 and 9-year-old, these kids are practicing 4 days a week.
Well, it's different. They're not really throwing that much in those games. They're definitely not pitching, and so you get it's a different type of baseball practice once you get to be this age, right? You're throwing harder. You don't need to come out here for 3 or 4 hours and learn how to run the bases when you're this age. It's more refinement, and a lot of these guys are having they're playing a ton of baseball. We added it up, and there were about 8. A lot of these kids played on tournament teams just about year-round, so you've played roughly 80 games this year over the last 12 months, which is a lot of baseball.
Advances
That's
there on a steal. He was going anyway.
I think that makes it 3-1. So that's Hogan at second.
Hogan is.
Chase is at the plate looking for his first hit tonight. O'Pry on deck. So the heart of the order for the Rockies. You gotta think they'd like another couple runs just for insurance here.
I mean, I think the official attendance is in the thousands.
You could be right.
Median age.
There's a lot of people watching in the retirement home there across the street too. There's at least 2 or 3 lights on.
My in-laws attend more games than any parents ever. They have 6 grandkids playing up here, and they attend every single game. They live in the top one up there.
That's
They'd
their
save a
profit
lot of money.
boxes.
Save a lot of money on refreshments if they did.
Kidding. That's the great part about Post Oak. There's a lot of
That's where
support.
Porter gets his looks, is from his grandfather.
From where?
From his grandfather.
That's a true statement, but I was more into the amount of support that are out here for these kids.
So have you calculated the number of games?
700.
So Hogan steals third on the walk to Chase.
Now what do you do?
So I think the Rockies are going to keep running. That's what they do. There's no outs. O'Pry, in the last couple of games, has just been a RBI king. So you got to think he's going to take the first pitch, let Chase steal. Maybe not.
And then they might be in Barney Rubble.
Well, we'll see. But Walker this season has been great in putting the bat on the ball, going in there and doing his job.
There he goes. Free
Yeah.
base.
Yeah, that's indifference by the catcher there, which you'd expect. You're not worried about that runner.
No outs here. Second and third. RBI machine up.
Yeah, I can't think of a time. To get 9 RBIs into these back-to-back playoff games. That's a rare occurrence. Even just to have a chance at that many RBIs
Guess
is
how many
pretty
RBIs
unusual.
he's had?
9 in the last 2 games. He was 7 for 7 coming into tonight. Hopefully, for his sake, that gets out of play. So Walker's dad, Lance, was the voice of the Rockies all season long. Sam's mom, Angela, is the team mom, the Sam Bray's mom. So you got right here in the 4 or 5 hitters. You've got the voice of the Angela is the team mom for the Rockies.
Ball gets away.
No harm, no foul. So Hogan's at third now, 3-1.
Bray's younger brother plays with my youngest son.
Is that right?
He's quite the athlete as well. Bray's been a hitting machine today. And there we go again.
So a nice play by the third baseman. Makes the play.
He's going to score a
And
run.
somehow did not score a run.
No, he did score a run.
Oh, never mind. There was second and third. Thank you. So
7-2.
1 out. Chase is on third. And you've got Sam Bray, who we were just talking about. His mom is the team mom for the Rockies. And so if you're talking about drip, I'm not sure of how the official standings look, but he is in the top 3 at least when it comes to drip. I would say he leads the drip parade.
Whom?
Potentially Sam Bray.
Sam?
If there's a drip parade, he'd be at the front on the Rockies.
What kind of are the rules of drip?
I'm not sure. I know that a player, a
Chains?
Major League Baseball player that I think would be considered to have a lot of drip, George Springer, is his favorite player, if that gives you any idea.
A lot of like armbands and things like that.
They definitely, I'm not sure they're always drip, but I think the guy that comes up there with not just the sleeves on, but also the arm pads.
Arm pads.
Yeah, those pads, the ones you put around your ankle to keep your fouling balls off.
Yes, it looks like a yard sale when some of these kids quit hitting.
It does. He's taking his off right now, and that was
And they just leave it there.
They do.
I feel like a lot of these kids, that's what
They
do when
watch the major
get out of
leaguers.
bed,
They
too.
watch the major leaguers.
Someone else is cleaning up their room.
Right.
They need to learn how to make their bed in the morning.
So, DCL, Daniel Chavez Lajambio,
Dash.
hyphen. Outside pitch from Jack Maggi. So now you have second and third. And Daniel, who leads the team in RBIs at the plate. They're being patient. I think that was a pitch you could put to work right there.
Some great coaching by the Rockies.
Yeah, they really figured it out. They had a rough season last year, according to a few of the parents that I talked to. Definitely won way more games this year. I think they drafted especially well. It looks like they have, I would argue they have 5 kids on this team.
Had
that
the
could
great
be
Jackson Clark on their team last year.
That's what I heard. And so they had a much better season this year as far as the win-loss record. I can't speak for how the season went.
Jackson's actually a freshman at Second Baptist.
Okay.
Made the varsity team as a freshman. Great player. He was an 8-time pole player. He played 3 years at Pee Wee. You can do that sometimes.
Did they have it
There's a
started
couple
early or
kids that
stayed
get to
late?
No, they play early.
Got it.
Or you can play 3 years as a junior.
You
so
can if you're
maximum 8 years you can play.
There's a couple guys out here tonight that I think they'll play their third year next year. They're second year guys that Hayes Camarda, I think, is one of those guys that could play
Hayes is
next
a
year.
young birthday.
He's a 7th grader. He's a May birthday, I think. And so Hayes could come back out here. Ford Bennett, who played in one of the games this weekend, has finished 2 years in juniors and could definitely come back and play a third year.
What a backhand.
Nice play. Scores
Out.
the run. Now
First, so that's an RBI.
you get the RBI. Great
so
play.
ocho dos now.
8-2.
Telemundo.
If you'd like to watch the game, listen to the game in Spanish, you use your SAP setting there at the bottom of your screen. So,
Baseball in Spanish is not as fun as soccer, though.
baseball.
Baseball.
So Michael Aiken, I believe, at the plate.
My co-host here, Forrest, if you could see this, the research that he's done is there's a pass ball and a run scored.
9-2.
He has created a double-sided paper with full in detail stats, tidbits, nicknames, every single thing that you could ever imagine, to include Lance O'Pride being the voice of the Rockies.
I might have forgotten that, though. I had to write it down.
This is amazing. The amount of effort that Mr. Forrest Green has put into this broadcast tonight for you people is unbelievable. Michael Aiken is a King K. Doubled last game versus the Astros. Big plays in the outfield. Completed a half marathon, as you said, multiple triathlons. Has already started a sports media company, 2017 Pee Wee champion with Mustangs.
Is that a Baskin team? Was that a Baskin team? I can't remember. So it's a full count on Aiken right now.
That would be Baskin and Chris Ernest.
Okay. Oh, he takes strike
Taylor
three.
Baskin made the All-Star team this year as a girl.
Wow. So we're going to the bottom of the 7th. 3 outs to go for the Rockies and for the Astros. The Astros need to plate 7.
We're up with Piper on deck, or who's on?
You know what? I didn't have the order before the game, and so we've got the players' names there, but they're not in batting order. So I think they're going to have their 8, 9 spots come up. I'm not sure who's going to bat for them.
Yep, 8,
and
9,
then
1.
Hayes Camarda, and then Thomas Smith. So they definitely can do some damage here. The Rockies need to be efficient.
The bases loaded for Thomas. He hits a grand slam. Is that a possibility right here?
You know, it would set up perfectly for that. So that's what the Rockies are trying to avoid. Even that would only be a 9-6 lead. But that would be that's what you're looking for if you're an Astros fan. I think there's a few of them out there listening right now.
How are the real Astros doing this year?
They've got a huge winning streak going right now, 6 or 7 games at least. And
How are the real Rockies doing this year?
I have no idea.
You're not a Colorado Rocky fan?
No. The team that's doing especially well in that same division, though, are the Diamondbacks. They've been pretty terrible for a while.
The Diamondbacks?
The Diamondbacks are in second place behind the Dodgers, and it's actually relatively close.
You ever been to that stadium?
Diamondbacks? I have not.
There's a hot tub in center field.
I think it's just a pool, actually.
The
It's
Marlins
pretty
have
hot.
that too, I think, right?
No, the Marlins have a nightclub.
Okay.
I've been there.
So you've got we're back to the fielders that were in the game to start the game for the Rockies. So Jack Murray in right field, Daniel Chavez Lajambio in center.
Sarah Snyder's on the
Sarah Snyder's the voice of the
voice of Pole.
voice of Poll tonight.
She's been the voice of Pole for a long time.
So Maximus Van Dyke is up. St. Michael's kid. He's the one that was teammates with Thomas last year. A really versatile player.
Chase is into the 7th inning. He's got 78 pitches. He's going to run a complete game. That's very impressive.
Well, we got to see. There's 3 outs to get here. That one's in there.
1-1 here. Irregardless, to take it to 7 changes the whole game.
Absolutely. He's still throwing strikes, too. This has to be his best game of the season so far, regardless of what happens from here on out. Especially giving up.
All year?
No, giving up 2 in the first. He's been good. This is easily the best he's looked all year. So Emilio comes out to make that catch from second base.
That was quite the athletic play.
He's so rangy.
I think Newt Rockney said it the best. Big players make big plays in big games.
Emilio's a little player that's playing big tonight.
It's true.
He
I
has
was
played
more back
big all
into
season.
Chase.
Oh, I thought you meant their physical stature.
Hebrew hammer he is.
Okay.
He's like a Sandy Koufax tonight.
Now you're going to get emails. So I think they just flipped the lineup. Ball 1, I believe. That's Hayes Camarda at the plate. No. The game changer says Pierce Russell. I think the game changer is right.
If they didn't have us way back here, we could see.
Yeah, it's a little tricky
I would have
from back
expected
here.
in your Boy Scout kit, you would have brought us some binoculars.
I thought about it, but I don't want to get hit by a baseball. It's a line drive right back at us.
This would be a long line drive.
It'd be a long line drive. This is the shallowest part of the field.
It's true.
So I believe 2-2. That was a really quick couple of pitches by Chase there.
All right.
Pierce,
2-2
the muscle,
here.
Russell. He's played a lot of catcher coming into this year. I haven't seen him play catcher too much or at all in this.
So we're 1 out away.
1 out away now.
The celebration will be epic.
I think the confetti's going to drop in from above.
No, I think they have all of the ski masks,
Oh.
and they got a bunch of fake champagne for them.
Okay. Oh, this kind of ski mask,
Ski
like the
masks
goggles,
that,
the ski goggles.
Ski goggles.
Yeah, you
When
confused
we
me
were
there.
young, they didn't have the goggles.
No, they didn't know about that.
No.
So Hayes Camarda up.
That takes the fun out of
He
it.
needs to get on base here for the Astros. That one's out of play.
We need a miracle.
So Camarda has played in 3 pole championships. He said his favorite coaches over the years were your own hometown James Woldert
And McClett.
and Toby McClett,
They were the Bears.
even though they yelled at him quite a bit.
And this is going to be the game.
A nice
And
catch
we have
by
new world
Emilio.
champions.
And the
The confetti has begun.
Rockies coaches couldn't be more excited. They're having a blast out there. They just tackled Emilio.
And shirts are coming off.
Oh no, I didn't think you were going to see that. I'm sure that was a bet with the players.
Shirts are
you
coming
can't
off.
unsee
They're
that.
rushing the fields.
So I think that hopefully the PA announcers are going to recognize the Astros players. There's a handful of them tonight that are going to they're playing their last game here at Pole.
If not, we'll do it for them right now.
Yeah, I need to kind of make sure we have the right guys.
So Jack Maggi is playing his last year. Paul Hood going to Episcopal as a 9th grader.
Okay. So Tree Levin is younger. This is his first year as a junior. So Thomas Smith is definitely
Thomas Smith will be his last year. As I've said, one of the top 50 greatest players to play.
No
We're
doubt.
probably top 25.
No doubt.
Hayes Camarda.
Hayes Camarda can come back next year. He's only in 7th grade, and so he's a little bit older, but he absolutely can come back. But Eli Ferber is an 8th grader. This will be his last year
Eli
in
Ferber
juniors.
was an all-star as a 9-year-old.
He's a really
dominant
good.
player.
He's a really
been
good
a
baseball
dominant
player.
all the way through.
I believe Max Van Dyke is also one of those other 8th graders we'll be able to hear on the PA announcement here in a minute. Pierce Russell is only in 6th grade, so he's got plenty of time to go. Porter, your nephew.
This is Porter's last year. Probably some tears shed right here as he plays his last game at Post Oak.
And Owen Piper, we apologize for messing up his at bat earlier, but this was his last game at Poole. Shout out to him.
Right?
He's the Pipe. And he actually was Mr. Baseball during one of his Pee Wee years. And so he's had a great career at
Mr.
Poole.
Baseball is the best
Best
teammate,
kid. Yeah, and Coach Jeff Czar was his coach that year
Best
on the
kid's a
Tide.
hard thing to say. They're all great kids.
Well, but he won the award for it. So Owen had a great This is his last game. Had a great career. J.D. Strebe will be back, and Cade Polidori, two best SBMS kids. They'll be back next year.
And for your Rockies.
For the Rockies, I guess they're done too. I didn't think about that. There's 9 8th graders on the Rockies, so I'll just list them off. They get the rings tonight. So Hogan Zach, Chase Otzler, Walker O'Pry, Sam Bray, Daniel Chavez-Lajambio, Jack Murray, Michael Aiken, Andrew Middlehoser, and Austin O'Malley are all done at Pole. So
They're retiring their jerseys tonight.
9 out of the 12 players played their last game and got to leave with the championship tonight.
They call it a swan song, I think.
It's hard to say that for a 13 or 14-year-old, but I guess that's the case.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure, Forrest.
It was fun, Brian.
This is, I think that this might be our last time too. No, we'll get to do it again next year.
I think Charlie's going to play next year. We'll see. I don't know if he'll be eligible next year.
He won't?
I'm not sure you'll be eligible.
Walker.
Is Walker going to play? Aaron, I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't know if he's
Oh.
But I know that I have another one playing.
So he'll be in majors.
He'll be in majors.
Huh?
So, 3 boys through. Pole's been a special place.
And thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks, everybody.